Hi, I'm Thayer Hall. I am from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and I went to Dorman High School, played at Upward Starts Upstate Volleyball, and then I just graduated from the University of Florida, playing volleyball there for 4 years. The year, the Max Preps National Player of the Year. It's definitely, I have grown to learn how to do it. And then I've also kind of been forced to do it recently. We finished season in December, and then in February 14th on Valentine's Day, I had hip surgery. So going from, practice every single day and taking, you know, between 80 and 150 jumps a game to being operated on and then non-weight bearing for 8 weeks. I've literally never sat for that long. I've never not walked for 8 weeks. And so it's very hard for me I like joke about it all the time. Like, I don't have an outlet for my competitive edge anymore. Like, I need to find something. And so it's been hard. Like, my body has had a hard time adjusting to it. It's like it's craving something that it's not getting. And I have to like slowly add it back. Physical therapy is a very slow process. So it was very hard for me to rest as a college athlete. Because even whenever I was resting, I was watching film and I was having meetings with coaches and working with teammates. And so ways that I found rest were when I didn't have to be competitive. So like, this sounds so dumb, but even in like small group, when we would have game nights, I like couldn't turn it off. I was like trash talk and I'm going to win this thing. And so that's just, I'm an achiever. I, you know, and so things that I didn't have to be competitive, like when we had off days, a lot of times like my teammates would like they would have stuff planned and they would, drive to the beach for the day or whatever it may be. I mean, that was our seasons in the fall, so they didn't have much. But or they would like get dressed up and go out to dinner. Like my off days were like we are called, God took a day of rest. Like that was my day of rest. That was my Sabbath. Like it didn't have to be, I was an advocate for us not having things on Sunday morning so that I could attend church. But even Sundays, like most of the times we would have we'd have to go in for treatment or massages or possibly even have a match. Like my rest days were my off days and I literally rested. Like if I left the house, it was to go get coffee and come back or just to like walk outside and sit in the sun. Like I did not do anything and it was so nice. And I mean, I really didn't start doing that until senior year, but that was my time of rest. And then the like consistency of doing that, the developing a habit of quiet time and the consistency with it, like my off days gave me more time to spend in the word. I mean, I've talked about grace, but like his faithfulness, I don't remember what series or even like what passage we were in, but one Sunday, and it was probably like a moment where I was like zoned out for 30 seconds and didn't even hear the context, but then like this one sentence like brought me back into it. But Tony, our lead pastor at Via Springs, said like he literally cannot be unfaithful. And I feel like I hear one of the like biggest things, my biggest pet peeves is when people say answered prayers. Like he answers every single prayer. It just might not be answered in the way that you want it to be. Like God can say no. He has that power. He has that, like that can still be justice from him. And so when he said that, like he cannot be unfaithful, like it gives me goosebumps every time I think about that phrase. But like I heard that beginning of junior season, and that's been like my fiance plays baseball. Like he's in a really, really dark professional sports world. Like there's not a lot of Jesus in that kind of stuff. But what like he goes through a lot and it's really hard to, be a part of him and get DMs on Instagram that are, life threatening and like, but Ryan's there for a reason and his feet are where they are for a reason. My feet were in Gainesville for a reason. Like he cannot be unfaithful, even if my hip labrums are absolutely shredded. Even if my back hurts so bad I can't take a deep breath, like, I mean, I'm not nailed to a cross having to like raise myself up to take a breath and then fall back down. It's just so I think his faithfulness and his inability to be unfaithful would probably be the most prominent characteristic. I think like what I talked about refinding my why, like finding a reminder of why you started playing and surrounding people who will remind you of that. Like that was my biggest thing, was even whenever I was finding it myself, the lack of community that was supporting me. I'm 6.5 hours away from home. You're with your teammates all day long. It's not, I mean, it's a hard, um, it's a hard balance. And so basically I was pouring and pouring and pouring into this program and into every little like compartment that I wanted to be a part of, but I had nothing filling me back up. And so that's my biggest thing, is like it's scary, it's so hard, it's so hard. I tried multiple different churches. My freshman year, I finally settled on one that I could check off the box of going to church, but I have had no community. It was a really big church. I didn't feel like I belonged. But if we didn't have something on Sunday, I would go and then I could say I went to church. And so finally, when I decided to try um, Vita Springs, like, and actually got plugged in and people were praying over me and like, and not just like, hey, I'll pray for you. Like people were laying hands on me at least once a week in small group or on Sunday mornings and specifically praying for like these really hard things in my life that probably to them didn't seem hard. Like they're married with kids and they need prayer because they have kids and but they're like taking time and feeding me and like literally feeding me food after church on Sundays, like, so that's my biggest piece of advice, is to the amount of time you're investing in things outside of Jesus should not be greater than the amount of time you're, so if you're not investing in finding a church and finding community and being plugged in, then like a little bit of reevaluation needs to be done.